Now I've got a pretty special pattern for you today. This one comes from Alex of Connecticut. Now Alex has only been tying for a year or so, but he's been a pretty loyal follower and supporter of the channel for most of that year. Now here's why this pattern is special. Alex and someone he loves are going through some pretty tough times right now. And what I'm about to share with you comes directly from Alex, and I'm sharing this with his permission. And the story Alex told me is that he spent 8 years with a lady, Kerri, who's currently undergoing chemotherapy. And he wanted to come up with a pattern as a tribute to her using some of her favorite colors. And Alex says he's been doing the best he can to put a smile on her face and try and help share some positivity however he can. And he also tells me that fly tying for him has become not just a way to fill up your box with flies for the next fishing trip, but really a therapeutic way to cope with some pretty tough times that he and Kerri are going through. And this, to me, is just one of the things that makes fly tying so special. Now, he has caught some fish with this thing, but really, that's a bonus. If he had a positive experience creating and tying this thing as a tribute to someone he loves, well, that's tying at a deeper level. So Alex, thank you for sharing your story with me and this pattern with the channel and allowing me to contribute in some small way to help in this tough situation. But it's a cool fly, folks. I hope some of y'all will give it a try and maybe leave some positive vibes for Alex and Kerri in the comments below. So here's the pattern, Kerri's Bugger Jig. So there's one in the vise, Kerri's Bugger Jig by Alex Rosado. Now I'm tying this on a size 12. This is a 60-degree jig hook, standard length, not barbless, so let's go ahead and pinch that barb down. Did I get it all? Yeah, close enough. Now, I did put hot orange bead on it. This is a 77/64 inch hot orange tungsten bead. Now, Alex didn't say if he puts any weight on this, but I am going to. I'm going to put several wraps right here just because I want this thing to be pretty front heavy, and I want it to, get down quick and ride upside down if I fished it actively. So let's get these wraps in here kind of tight and then jammed up there right behind that bead if we can get it around that bend. I think we can, that's fine. Now this is a lead-free wire, so it doesn't helicopter off all that easily. I'm gonna go ahead and snip it. And before anybody yells at me for snipping wire with scissors, these are last year's scissors. You can tell because I marked them with tape. Now let's put some thread on it. Tan thread, I'm going to use a 70 denier, but use whatever diameter, whatever type thread you want. We'll put a few wraps above right there. Probably doesn't need it, but go ahead and take it back to the start of the bend. Now let's catch on a big tuft of marabou, ginger marabou here. And I'm going to go about a body length. I love marabou and I like having big long marabou tails, but going too long, sometimes you risk getting a lot of short strikes, on streamers anyway, or you just risk it fouling up around your hook. So you don't want to ever go too long. This is probably about as long as I can go right there comfortably. So get a few wraps to lock that in. Now snip off this excess up front. And a few extra wraps just to lock this in. Now let's catch in some flash. He uses a couple strands of flash. This is just a crystal flash and it's very thin. If you had thicker stuff, I might only go with one strand on each side, because sometimes this type flash will overpower your fly if you're not careful. But this one is thin enough, I think we can get away with 2 on each side. So I've got it caught in on my side right here. Now I'm just going to bend these back, these other 2, to catch them in on the far side. Okay, several wraps right there. I'm going to grab all 4 of them at the same time and then just snip them right here past the tail. Now we're going to catch in a rib and our body. Now one tip to remember, when you're tying in 2 materials at once, tie them in the opposite order that you're going to wrap them. So we're going to wrap our body first and then the rib. So let's catch in the rib and then the body. Just makes it a little easier. It's not a big deal if you forget to do that. I forget plenty of times, but it does help a little bit. Okay, so let's snip off this stem. Mine's a little bit long right here. Now the body, a cactus chenille. So this stuff right here, and I'm going to catch it in just right behind this weight. And a few of the wraps we might take up over the front of that weight. We'll see in just a minute. Okay, I think that's fine right there. Let's get our thread up here. Now I am going to crinkle this up a little bit because it comes off the spool kind of flat like that. So I'll just spin it and crinkle it a little bit. It might give you a little bit buggier of a body. So just go ahead and wrap these up, touch and turns all the way up front, and every once in a while give it a spin and rough it up again. Okay, so I've got one wrap right above that weight right there. Let's go ahead and catch it off. And this is where I'm going to do something just a little bit different than Alex did. He put a different head on it. I'm going to leave this and then put a few wraps for my head of this stuff right here. And one of my crystal flash is out of line there. Okay, so let's just palmer this up to right where we've stopped wrapping that body. One full wrap at the back, and now open spirals going up. And this is up to you. Really, how do you do your woolly buggers? Do you like the barbs kind of pointing forward? I usually do. It gives it a little bit more disturbance when you're pulling it through the water, but totally up to you. If you want them swept back, just tie that feather in the opposite way that I have it tied in right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and catch that off. And now, what Alex did, he put some ice dove right here behind the bead and in front of that hackle. I'm going to try to, save a step and just use this same cactus chenille right here with 2 or 3 wraps for the head here. I think that is going to be, just makes it one step easier. I don't know if it's going to make it any more or less effective. Probably not have much of a difference, but it will save you, 30 seconds on the tie. So we got that caught in right there. Now let's just snip this as close as we can get it, and I think we're ready for a wet finish. So there we go, take a look at it. If you got any cleanup, put on a fly like this. I don't think you need any cleanup. It's a bugger jig. So there you go, Kerri's bugger jig. I think it's a pretty nifty little pattern. Kind of fun to tie. So I appreciate you watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.